It happens with a horse, it will happen with a camel, it will happen with a dog. Dog in your own house. If you discipline a dog and the dog is disciplined and does a good job, my lord, you will give him a biscuit. This is the characteristic policy. This has been followed over the years. And each of these, my lord, there are articles on this.
Not confined to animals.
I was going to say that. When you send, my lord, children to school,
here you are enabling it, enabling this to take place. The state is permitting it to happen. What is more, the state is actively promoted it by putting it out.
there also the state is promoting people to drive at 100 miles an hour. If you go from here to Agra, they made a road. The minister says drive at 120 an hour. It's a great road. I mean, it's a state which has done all this. So, my lord, this, and at the end of the day, my lord, it's not as if that millions of people are going to be killed like a famine. It's not one of those, my lord. I don't think, my lord, it's be stretching 21 in the same.
See, if you are conducting this test by the veterinary doctors or animal husbandry,
Yes.
now why not such a thing be conducted immediately after the race also? So anything whether anything was done during the race, that can be detected then
Could be.
immediately after.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
during
we
the
are
race,
certainly open to
interesting,
We are
etc.
certainly open, my lord, to do it. Your lordship can record my statement. The officers are here. We
Because
will
the-
instruct them to issue an SOP right
The
now.
allegation is that during the race,
Something, yeah,
all
yeah.
these things are being done. So once prior to that, if you are conducting this,
Respect, my lord. I have checked a couple of dictionaries. No dictionary has the meaning of humanism which is mentioned here. And I'll show you, my lord, one by one.
Yes.
The mistake is that their lordships are thinking humane. Humane and humanism are completely different. Humane is have a humane approach, have a merciful approach, compassionate approach, be humane. But humanism has nothing to do with it. Humanism is a rationalist who doesn't believe either in religion or, my lord, in some supernatural power. He believes in rationalism. That is how, my lord, it is defined in every dictionary. I can read it, my lord, but may not be necessary. But I can read one. A system of values and beliefs based on the idea that people are good and problems can be solved by using reason instead of religion. A belief based on principle that people's spiritual and emotional needs can be satisfied without following a god or religion. Being a rationalist, borders on being an atheist. That's how it is. How does the court decide, my lord, that it is, my lord, essential or non-essential? How? It's a part of culture, it's a part of amusement, it's a part of religion, whatever it is. The court is not an arbiter of deciding, my lord, whether it is non-essential or not. Can you say, my lord, walking in a park for a human being is non-essential? He need not walk, he need not run, he need not do this, he need not do that. How do the court say, my lord, it is non-essential? So you start with this, that what you are doing is really non-essential, you are doing for amusement, and therefore you are causing, my lord, this kind of pain. But thinking that they will be instrumental value are intentionally used, though avoidable, again avoidable. Ignoring welfare of bulls solely for human pleasure. I showed you 11M. 11M can solely be entertainment. There's nothing wrong with it. Lord, when you ride a horse, it is solely for entertainment that you ride a horse. After domesticating a horse, you can't do it without domesticating. I'm going to show something else, Lord, a little later. Now,
So in a public interest litigation, let us take it. Find that the industry is doing precisely is the duty is there. Mandamus lies where a duty, perhaps it becomes a public duty because it affects the public. Will it not lie? I mean, petitions are filed.
This is statutory obligation.
No. Lord, first issue is, it is between humans.
That's right. Supposing, take a case where in a local body, a case is filed that animals are being treated, say dogs, as a very controversial issue, Kerala in particular, we know that. Or any other species, for example, they are treating the officers of the particular local body, they are treating them in a very cruel manner. Assume, hypothetically. Can a writ be filed by somebody saying, please don't do that? And a mandamus is issued to the officer, the chairperson of the authority. Please ensure that the duty under section 311 is enforced.
With great respect, in this example, it may be difficult for a court to tell the owner of an animal that you must ensure that the animal is, my lord, fed in a particular manner, not chained, kept in a shed, not kept in scorching sun. That may not be possible. The position, my lord, of environment and that may be different. This is, my lord, an environment being spoiled by a human being to, my lord, for a human being. But, my lord, because rights are, my lord, enshrined for human beings in our constitution and our laws.
That's right, but it is ought to be enforced against humans because cruelty.
But at whose instance?
I think it's the very person.
No, my lord,
Any local, anybody having.
I'm only saying, my lord, that it is being enforced against a human, but at the instance of an animal.
That's right.
Yes, on behalf of the
On
animal.
behalf of the
No,
animal.
on behalf, where is that behalf? Or where do we get that?
Locus.
My lord, somebody would say, some law would say, this law says there is an obligation on you, Mr. So-and-so, not to inflict extra pain because if you do, you will be sanctioned. Fine. That it stops there. There is no, my lord, law saying that there is a corresponding right in an animal to do this, that, or the other.
Take the case of, say, the degradation of a forest, wildlife protection, or the Forest Conservation Act. Can you not come and say, can a human not come and say, see, it is being happening there, a lot of people are they're violating the law, cutting trees. Preservation of Trees Act you have in every state.
Yes, yes.
Trees cannot be cut. Whether it gives a right is a different matter. We are not talking about that. But a duty to not actually do certain acts as are laid down in the various acts would perhaps be enforced by a mandamus.
But the only difference is,
Could be.
could be. The only difference, my lord, seems to me to be in the case, my lord, of animals versus humans, as opposed to, my lord, the environment or other, which is for humans by humans. That seems to be, my lord, the difference. And in any case, my lord, this is a matter of debate. It can't be, my lord, in this fashion that if you have this duty, you have a right statutorily enforced, then 51A is enforced. How can 51A be enforced? We don't look at it anyway. 51A is being enforced by putting it into 3 and 11. 51A itself for humans can't be enforced. It may be a matter of debate, as my Lord Justice Joseph has put it. Yes, it could well be, but you have to have a debate and then work it out. Can't be, my Lord, in this fashion.
Yeah.
It's not A is equal to B and B is equal to C, hence A is equal to C. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. The entire judgment is founded on that.
Seventy last sentence.
1-7, my Lord.
No, 70.
7.
The last sentence, further animals like cows, bulls, etc. are freely used for farming, transporting loads, etc. That too for the benefit of human beings.
Yeah.
Then of course subjecting them to some pain,
Yeah.
that is unavoidable. Now the question is, now whether the preservation of culture,
Yes.
whether that can be said to be for the benefit of human beings, whether that will fall under there.
My Lord, culture would be a part of a human being's well-being.
Because they are
That is the part
they
of
are
somebody's
the
well-being.
why
What else is culture?
So why this question is put is
Yes, sir.
farming, transporting loads, etc. So here whether this will fall there under preservation, whether it will be for the benefit of a human being.
My Lord, culture would be a part, and this would take color from Article 29. 29 uses the phrase that the people will have a right to conserve. It's a very peculiar phrase, my Lord. It doesn't say protection or promotion, which would be normal, promotion of culture. It says, my Lord, any section of citizens residing in territory of India or a part having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve. It's a right to, it's an absolute right to conserve. Just as you have a right of farming, You have a right, my lord, of conservation. I am grateful for that query. Now, my lord, let's take it a little further. Just take it a little further. When you domesticate an animal, my lord, it's happened over the last 5,000 years. You have to subject, my lord, the animal to what I call a carrot and a stick policy. Whether it's a dog, whether it's a horse. So you catch hold of a dog, catch hold of a horse, blood wild horse, who's blood running around in the wild, has had no interaction with humans. You catch the dog, the horse, you put him, my lord, in an arena, he can't escape. Then you slowly try to tame him, you sit on it, it'll throw you off. You then, my lord, whip the dog, whip the horse, you put him into submission so that he realizes that there would be a master. The master uses a carrot and stick policy. It will whip him, may not give him food for half a day, so that, my lord, the horse becomes submissive. And when the horse does what the master wants, it gives him, my lord, a carrot. It happens with a horse, it will happen with a camel, it will happen with a dog. Dog in your own house. If you discipline a dog and the dog is disciplined and does a good job, my lord, you will give him a biscuit. This is the carrot and stick policy. This has been followed over the years. And each of these, my lord, there are articles on this.
Not confined to animals.
I was going to say that. When you send, my lord, children to school, that old saying, my lord, spare the rod and spoil the child. I mean, that was an old saying. Today, there is no corporal punishment in school. My lord, in those days, when we were in school, it was there. Very much there. So this is how, my lord, somebody is tamed. And at that point of time, when you are taming, my lord, the person, or the animal, you are inflicting unnecessary pain on him. No doubt about it. To bring him, my lord, into the domestic fold. And then he recognizes who the master is. My lord, in the case of a horse, your lordships have seen, is nothing new. You put metal hooves under the horse. The horseshoe. That is not natural, my lord, for a horse. You are putting it, my lord, a horseshoe, or what is called a bite. Your lordship know, my lord, what a bite is. It is put in the mouth and it goes inside. And when you pull the rein to stop the horse, the bite goes inside. It will go here. The horse will bite on it and stop. It is well known. This is called a bite. This is actually inflicting, my lord, constant pain. This is constant pain on the horse. Forever, he will live with it and die with it. It's called a bite. Just see this, my lord. Kindly, my lord, have a look at this. Your lordship will find, we can see on one side is a ring, my lord, at the edge of the mouth, and the ring is attached to a rod. That rod, my lord, will come out of the other end and will have a similar ring there. And through the ring, my lord, is the rein. Your lordship will see that? Through the ring is a rein here and one rein there. So the moment you pull it, how do you tell the horse to stop, my lord? The horse can't understand what you are saying. When you pull the horse, pull the rein, the horse will stop because this bite will go inside further. Yeah. So what I am trying to say is, my lord, it's a delicate balance. It is a delicate balance which has to be, my lord, done by virtue of rules, by virtue of ensuring, my lord, that unnecessary problems do not occur. But this kind of thing, my lord, per se, is actually speaking suffering, per se. But it is justified because of domestication. How?
So instead of unnecessary, can you say that it is unavoidable?
I
Unavoidable for the purpose.
am very grateful, bro. Unavoidable is also a phrase. Can you remove this? Technically speaking, the horse was not meant to have this, my lord. Or if somebody sitting over it. Or a donkey, my lord, being a beast of burden. They were not supposed to be beast of burden. Just because, my lord, he is born in that fashion. And he's not like a horse. Even today in this country, my lord, in several mountainous areas or certain regions of this country, most regions, these donkeys even today carry 50 kilos below of weight, day in and day out. Day in and day out. Elephants below in Kerala and other places carry lumber. Are they supposed to carry lumber?
Human beings do that.
Human beings do that. You go to below mountainous areas
Mountain
where
areas,
people
even
can't
in
go to
Nainital,
religious places, they are put on the back.
Nainital I've seen.
Janitar, first you used to have a palki below,
Yeah.
palanquin, carrying that, or somebody gonna, all this is there now. You cannot, what I'm trying to say is, you can't look at all this in isolation. As if this is the highest pedestal which is there and all the other human and those rights are not looked at. That not a correct approach. Now, there was a reference in para 15 to bull tamers. Because bull tamers was used in the PCA Act of the state in 2009. So the court has an adverse view of bull tamers in para 15. Now a bull tamer or a horse tamer or trainer is very much required in our system to domesticate. Even when you use a bull for plowing a field or as a beast of burden, will you not domesticate it? How will you domesticate it? By a tamer or a trainer, whatever you call it. Para 15 castigates the provision of bull tamers in the PC Act of 2009, sections 4 and 5. That with respect is not the correct approach. So I have finally two submissions on this. One, that this is wrong. Yes, I don't say it again. Legally, it suffers from two problems. One, that these conclusions are reached without precedent, without discussion, and therefore, they are susceptible to the principle of per incurium or sub silentio. As explained, by Justice Sahai in 1991 4 SCC 139, paragraphs 40 and 41. I don't want to read it, 40 and 41, His Lordship discusses. Because the problem was, in an earlier judgment, by an abruptly, a purchase tax was replaced by sales tax. Actually, it was just a typographical error, actually. Purchase tax was replaced by sales tax. It could have been corrected by an IA. But since it was a Supreme Court judgment, the High Court decided something, it came back to Supreme Court. And then the Supreme Court said that it abruptly came without any assuming it was to be brought in, not by a mistake.
Para which you're reading?
40 and 41.
40.
41 says incuria is carelessness.
We'll go through that.
Yeah, para 40 and 41. You'll also see that, right?
Yeah.
It says
We'll
any declaration.
We'll go through it.
Right.
We have understood your point. Yes.
This is followed, by several judgments. I'll give you one more and leave it at that. Mr. Justice Chauhan.
Just hand it over.
I'm just giving this.
Followed in, you can be.
Yes. All right. Now,
There's one argument of Shyam Diwan, which
Yes.
he said. We just want to know what your response. He said that Article 21, through the conduit of human lives being lost, also because we are forgetting the other angle to the Jallikattu, which is that apart from animals being at the receiving end of cruelty, as it were, a lot of humans are losing their lives, injuries are taking place. What do you say about that?
with great respect, in every field of activity, people lose their lives. You are driving on a road. You may not be driving rashly. Somebody else does something. Somebody may die. Some truck may overturn. Some building may fall. Some bridge may fall.
But you are enabling it, enabling this to take place. The state is permitting it to happen. What is more, the state is actively promoted it by putting it out.
There also the state is promoting people to drive at 100 miles an hour. If you go from here to Agra, they made a road. The minister says drive at 120 an hour. It's a great road. I mean, it's a state which has done all this. So, this, and at the end of the day, it's not as if that millions of people are going to be killed like a famine. It's not one of those. I don't think, it's be stretching 21 In the same manner, my lord, that the judgment is stretched 51A into 3 and 11.
That's,
I don't think, my lord, that should really.
that's it.
My lord, that Justice Chauhan's judgment which follows.
You can just give the citation.
Yeah, my lord, just cite it. 2011, 7 SCC,
Yes.
639, para 65 onwards.
We'll go
65.
through it.
Yes, that's it.
Anything more?
My lord, just as an aside, Justice Chauhan used to have a diary, my lord. Always.
Black diary.
All the judgments.
Black diary, black.
Black diary. My lord, I asked his lordship once, my lord, and he showed it to me. So it contains, my lord, in his hand, all the judgments, my lord, on various.
Oh, yes.
And that's why this judgment, your lordship will find, each judgment will have 50 citations.
50 citations.
Always.
In one judgment, you get a complete digest.
Complete. But I have asked him, my lord, he still has it.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
I said, you should donate it to a library or somebody came, my lord.
Oh, it's sold. That is sold.
He doesn't want to do that.
The part of it. Yes.
My lord, the second objection of mine was
Yeah.
that what the court has done in reading 3, 11, 51A, 21, etc. amounts to legislation. And courts do not legislate. Your lordship may note, my lord,
Amounts to legislation.
yes,
Right.
that you read everything together as if one has gone and welded into the other.
Yes.
That is, my lord, 2002, 4 SCC, 578, 7 judges. 2002, 4 SCC, 578. Now, my lord, I am done with this. Only 5 more minutes I want, my lord. No more. My lord, now I've left the judgment. My lord, in the current scenario, Mr. Simple took your lordship through the rules, my lord. I don't want to, my lord, take your lordship through the rules again. But beyond the rules, we have several, my lord, SOPs, standard operating procedures. Not only the rule, because I heard your lordship say in the earlier part of the discussion that some of the rules, my lord, were not absolutely okay or tight enough. I understood that. There are some SOPs, my lord, which seek to fill up that. And my second submission there is,
That SOPs for different departments. Different department, different SOP.
yes, yes, my lord. And my second submission at the last would have been that should your lordship find that there are some gaps, my lord, in the rules, I invite your lordships to indicate, my lord, in the judgment that they need to be tightened, and we'll do that. But that cannot lead to a situation of either, my lord, holding the law bad or holding the event bad.
Part of reading down.
Yes, reading down, or your lordship wants to give suggestions that please do this, this, this. I had said it, my lord, in the NJC case, that if the court did not find, my lord, favor with 1 or 2 clauses, the court could tell us, and we would have, my lord, gone back and done it. But the court didn't do that. That's all right, my lord. I mean, I'm just saying, my lord, it happened. And I think it was in this very courtroom. It was in this very courtroom, my lord, if I'm not mistaken. This one or the next one. Anyway,
Yeah.
so, my lord, those SOPs, if your lordship will have, my lord, volume 3 of the joint compilation. Just very quickly, I'll show you.
So,
My lord, page 1051 onwards. I just give you a flavor, my lord. I will not read most of it.
yeah, don't read because
Yeah, I won't read. Just the flavor. In 5 minutes, my lord, just give you the
What is the page?
My lord, 1051 onwards of joint compilation, volume 3. It has been issued to all the collectors. Though, my lord, it is only South Tamil Nadu where this event is popular, only in the south. 3 districts, my lord, Dindigul, my lord, Madurai, and what is it? The one more very difficult to pronounce. Aryan. So 3 districts, my lord, 2 I know, the third I didn't know. 1051.
yeah.
My lord sees the subject, my lord. Animal Husbandry, Jallikattu 2021, assigning duties and responsibilities to departments, SOP for Jallikattu, reference PCA, then several GOs, etc., etc. See, my lord, second para. In order to facilitate conduct of Jallikattu, Volume 3, please. You will kindly see 1051. Does Justice Roy have it, Lord? It says Convenience Compilation, Volume 3.
So basically, it's sort of SOP.
Any, Lord, large number of SOPs. Justice Roy doesn't have it.
No, it's okay. I understand that you are speaking about the SOPs issued to further safeguard the.
My Lord. It's like gaps. Some of what is your Lordship's comment.
Executive instruction.
Executive instructions, guidelines, whatever you may call it.
Not difficult, we'll go through it.
Yeah. So it goes on, my Lord, from 1051 and goes on, my Lord. I want your Lordship to see, my Lord, 1061. Just see 1061, one page, my Lord. See, my Lord, the checklist. It's a checklist, my Lord, which has to be completed successfully before the government will grant you permission. Kindly turn to 1061.
Yeah.
Whether the organizers inform district collector in writing, prior permission, whether the place is notified in the gazette, whether collector granted permission, whether names of participants are registered, whether venue is inspected, whether committee is concerned of district office to oversee, conduct Jallikattu in conformity rules, whether bulls are tested by animal husbandry, whether bulls are tested by so and so disease, not intoxicated, etc. You also recall intoxication, cheating substances and all that. Whether organizer arrange Jallikattu open ground, collectors giving consent, then bull holding area, whether they provide adequate space. There is a lot of discussion before your Lordship, small space, this, that, and the other. Whether bulls provide adequate feed, water, shabiana, all that. Because one phrase used in the judgment is, don't keep the bull in scorching sun. That's the phrase used. But my Lord, I asked myself, suppose there was no domestication, the bull would be either scorching sun or snow. We have given, my Lord, a shed to him. We give him food also. So it's not, my Lord, you can't look at one side, is all I'm trying to say. You have to look at all sides. Domestication has problems, but domestication has advantages too.
See, if you are conducting this test by the veterinary doctors or animal husbandry,
Yes.
now why not such a thing be conducted immediately after the race also? So anything whether anything was done during the race, that can be detected then
Could be.
immediately after.
Yes.
Because
We
during the
are
race,
certainly open to
interesting,
We are
etc.
certainly open, my Lord, to do it. Your Lordship can record my statement. The officers are here. We
Because
will
the-
instruct them to issue an SOP right
The
now.
allegation is that during the race,
Something, yeah,
all
yeah.
these things are being done. So once prior to that, if you are conducting this,
Yes.
nothing was there then. So immediately there are.
My Lord, we will do it. Your Lordship can record. Secretary is here. We will instruct him right now. Not difficult. Goes on to some.
It's not being.
See, my Lord, the checklist goes on and on.
The yard, they will collect it.
We'll do that, so that also can be.
Your Lordship could record, my Lord. We will do it. I'll instruct him right now in writing, and they will. My Lord, put in SOP. No problem.
Anything more?
Yeah, so it goes on and on, my Lord. I don't want to read it this up.
We don't have to.
My Lord, I had a compilation to show how exactly it is done. An application is moved, somebody looks at it, then this checklist, all that is there, but you forget the application. My Lord, there is lastly, my Lord, I found one article when I was doing a research about an officer, professor of philosophy from the US. The article is, do animals have rights? I want the Lordship to see it. I did not find anything else, my Lord, except this. Just have a look.
The lady,
Sorry?
written by a lady.
No, my Lord. One Mr. Carl Cohen, Department of Philosophy, University of Michigan.
Which year is that?
My Lord, this.
97.
My Lord, copyright is of 97, but I think it's an old one.
We'll go through that. We'll go through that.
It's an old one, yes.
We'll go through it.
My Lord, just there's some very. Kindly, my Lord, turn to 94 for a second. Just see, my Lord, the first para under the heading, why animals do not have rights. My Lords have that.
That's
Yeah. Many obligations are owed by humans to animals. Few will deny, But it certainly does not follow from this that the animals have rights, because it is certainly not true that every obligation arises from the right of another. What I was trying to say, at least in the case of animals. 3 lines down. But the proposition all rights entail obligation does not convert simply, as the logicians say, from the true proposition all trees, plants, does not follow all plants are trees. Similarly, not all obligations entailed by right. Some obligations, like mine to repay the money I borrowed from you, do arise out of rights, but many obligations are owed to persons or beings who have no rights whatsoever in the matter. They turn to the next page without middle. Animals cannot be the bearer of rights, because the concept of rights is essentially human. It is rooted in and has force within a human moral world. Humans must deal with rats all too frequently in some parts of the world and must be moral in their dealing. But a rat can no more be said to have a right than a table can be said to have an ambition. To say of a rat that it is right to confuse categories, to apply its word to a moral category that is contained only in humans, etc. Then this goes. That's without my submission.
Thank you.
Vinod, I just wanted to mention one thing. Yesterday, your lordship had asked me to circulate a note on the Maharashtra Vinod stand. May I just do that? And secondly, Vinod, just to, in my earlier note, we have dealt very elaborately with the rules, because yesterday we could not place the Maharashtra rules. That is in my first note. So these are the 2 Maharashtra rules.